If you're not offending or upsetting some people, you're probably doing it wrong. Now, I know that taken out of context, that seems like a very strange thing to say, but if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that's the type of person I am. I don't do things like most people, and that's kind of the whole point of this video, the whole point of this comment that I just made. And that is when you're in an extreme situation, faced with extreme odds, like I am facing. You know, I'll use my specific situation as an example, but it can be a variety of different situations. But in my case, when you're faced literally with death and a professional who tells you you have stage 4 of an incurable type of cancer, no one in the entire world has ever survived stage 4 of this, most people would probably end up giving up and just kind of surrendering and eventually dying. Certain people would try for a while to fight, but eventually will probably end up giving up and dying too. And that's what I mean by the statement that I made in the beginning. In a situation like this, okay, no one has ever survived stage 4 of this type of cancer. So that means that I can't do what everyone else in the past who's had this has done, or anyone else in this type of situation has done, because clearly it did not work. So that's kind of part of what I mean by what I said before. And the other part of it is simply because a lot of the times what you sense deep down inside, and some people are better at sensing what is right for them than other people, but most of the time when you're in situations like this, what you choose to do, if you choose to not give up and fight and choose to believe that you will find a cure, that you will survive even though all the odds are against you, whatever you end up doing is going to offend or upset or annoy some people. And I find that to be a very, very good thing. Not to say that I would ever do anything specifically for that purpose, to annoy or offend or upset people. But I've kind of noticed that when you do things that are right, a lot of the times it upsets people. I don't know why. Maybe because people are like, I don't know, I guess it's human nature to want to conform, to want to be part of the herd, because, we are group animals, we are social animals when we look at the basics of human beings and how we behave, how we interact. So maybe it's just human nature. And some people feel threatened when certain people do not obey those. They're not necessarily laws, but they're kind of unspoken rules. Society has a certain way of doing things, and when you don't do that, people view you as being weird, as being different, as being insane, as being delusional, whatever term you want to use. And to me, I don't see that as a bad thing. Yeah, okay, it can be a bad thing. As an example, if you decide to go around and start murdering people, well, yeah, okay, that's definitely a bad thing, and that's not a good thing in that case to be different. What I'm talking about is just doing what feels right. So in my case, choosing to believe that I will find a cure, that I will survive, even though it's not logical to do so. Sharing my viewpoint of why I believe those things, it always upsets and annoys some people. And there's specific aspects if you want to kind of drill down to very specific things. And the best example for that is positivity. I've always been a very positive person because at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, even if you don't control the outcome, whether, you believe you do or you don't, fate, whatever you believe. But at the end of the day, you can't really know what will happen. So why not just be positive? Because when you're positive, you're happier. Things in general seem better. Life is more enjoyable. So I'm like, all right, if I don't control the outcome, then life is just better when I'm positive, even if it is technically a form of delusion. And on the other hand, well, if you do control the outcome, being positive makes the outcome better. So why wouldn't I want to do it? So that's always been kind of my perspective. That's always been why I've been mostly positive. Yes, there are times where I'm less positive. There are times that are very intense, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't have the strength to be positive right now. But overall, most of the time, I've always been very positive throughout my life. And in fact, my best friend once said, I don't know, at this point it's been 5, 6 years, something like that. He once said, "You're annoyingly positive." And I took that as the greatest compliment in the world. And I've been using that term to describe myself because I view that as a very, very good thing. And that's the thing, when you are annoyingly positive, it annoys some people, it upsets some people, it gets people frustrated because, well, honestly, I don't know why. As a positive person, I can't really understand negative people. To me, it doesn't make sense. And I'm assuming it's the same for them. Negative people are like, why would you be positive? We all have our different perspective, different viewpoints. Everything is different for every person depending on what you believe. So that's why I view that as a good thing. Yes, I am annoyingly positive, and I'm proud of that. I'm happy of that. And that's why I never hold back to share my opinions, to share my beliefs. Even if I know it will upset and annoy some people will think I'm delusional, some people will think I'm insane, some people will think I'm in denial. I don't care. But I see those kind of as markers, as reminders, as indicators that I'm doing the right thing. Because odds are, if you're not upsetting or annoying or offending some people, then you're probably doing what the average person would do. And in extreme situations like this, when the average does not work, you can't rely on that. You need to be different. You need to break that status quo. And as a result of that, you are going to annoy or upset or frustrate some people. So I would never do any of this to cause that effect. But when I see that effect, I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. That means that I'm doing the right thing. That doesn't always apply, of course. It's like I would never do something to get those results just to convince myself I'm doing the right thing. I always do whatever feels right inside. But when those signs pop up, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. And I just thought it was important to share that because, at this point, I've stopped reading comments for a couple months. And the reason for that was twofold. In the beginning was just because I was going through a very difficult time. And I just didn't have the, physical or mental energy to read and respond to the comments every single day. And the other part of it was just because even though most comments are very positive and very encouraging, and I appreciated every single one of them, there were those negative comments of people who I annoyed, who I frustrated, who I upset. And those comments, even though I know it's not important, I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, they would affect me. And it was a form of negativity that I was allowing into my life. So even though there was so much benefit and so much, that I gained from reading and responding to all the comments, that slight downside, that slight negativity that would come into my life as a result of that was simply not good for me. And in situation like this, you need to go to extremes. So I had to cut everything off. So all that to say, I'm not really aware of what people are commenting on my videos. Every once in a while, I'll catch sight of a comment, but most of the time I don't read them. And my friend yesterday mentioned, because apparently he doesn't read all the comments, but he does read some of them. And he's like, it's just funny to see people like, arguing and being upset and everything. And it's like how you just sharing your viewpoint, sharing what you're doing upsets people, and it just, rubs them the wrong way. And to me, it's like, it's the same thing. It's just like, it doesn't make sense, but that's just how the world works. And the other thing, the posit, just to kind of jump back quickly, the positivity thing, the being annoyingly positive. My wife yesterday also mentioned like, hey, in the beginning, your annoying positivity, extreme positivity, whatever you want to call it, was annoying. It did annoy me in the beginning, but now it's like, now given everything you've gone through and everything you're going through, like I understand and I really appreciate it. And in fact, now it annoys her when I'm not super positive all the time. Those times where I'm more realistic than positive, it annoys her. So it's just funny that it's like, and same thing for my best friend. Like he said that back in the day, but now like when I went through that phase of being less positive, he's like, it's weird when you're not positive. Like I miss the positive version of you. So even though certain things that you do annoy and can potentially frustrate or upset or make other people angry, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, it's not a bad thing for you, but I mean, it's also not necessarily a bad thing for them because, like, my friend, even though it was annoying in the beginning, well, now, like, that brief period where it kind of went away a bit, he's like, I missed that. And same thing for my wife. In the beginning, it was annoying her. And then it's like, oh no, I realize how important that is now. And I appreciate it and I'm grateful for it. So it's just funny. It's just kind of like a reminder of, well, first of all, when you upset and annoy and frustrate or cause any kind of, negative reaction as a result of your actions, of your beliefs, of your decisions, I always view that as a good thing, as an indicator that you're doing something right. And at the end of the day, even if objectively in the moment it might feel like, oh, well, I'm upsetting other people, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Well, maybe you are upsetting them, but maybe that's not a bad thing. So, anyway, just wanted to share that. Just thought it'd be interesting to share because it's something that's kind of come up in the last couple of days. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And, by the way, if this video upset you, that is totally fine. I'm okay with that.